US, and he resides in Ahmedabad at an ashram, beautiful ashram there, as well as a few months he spends in the summertime up to August, right, in Pennsylvania. So we hope that if you have an opportunity to visit Pennsylvania, please do so. And I'll just give you a brief schedule of the events. And so as you know, chapter 4 here today and tomorrow. And then the third day, and 7:30 to 9 p.m. here, but at our home in Mississauga, it's going to be from 7 to 8:30. 7 to 8:30 in Mississauga. And there'll also be, then after the talks there's going to be a one-day retreat on Saturday, which will be held at the Bayview Community Health Center. And that retreat is from 7:30 in the morning up to 1 o'clock, followed by lunch. And the topic for the retreat is work is worship. It's a very relevant topic. So we hope that you'll be able to attend. So if you haven't done so, please do register or talk to one of us, and we'll, and you can even have it registered right on the day of, but you should let us know ahead so we can plan the lunch accordingly. And then after the 13th, on the 14th, Mother's Day, there's going to be a talk at the talks will resume on Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, selected verses at Vishnu Mandir, Anand Bhavan for seniors at the Vishnu Mandir. And on the Sunday, classes from 6 to 7:30, whereas on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it's from 7:30 to 9. And then there will be also Tattva Bodha classes, which will be held on Monday to Wednesday, each morning from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. at the Jayarath residence. So we hope that you take opportunity of this. I know it's a far track for us from Mississauga, but if you can, please do so. Or if you have friends that live in the East End, the city, please let them know about it. And we hope that you enjoy the talks. And that's all for today. And over to Pujya Swamiji. Thank you. You want to sit? No, I have a chair. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine
Vyomavadvyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Puranamunina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashaadhyayinim Ambattvamanusandadami Bhagavat Gita Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marudaha Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yan Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidussura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. In these sessions, we are reviewing the chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. In the last few sessions, we reviewed the third chapter of the Gita, which we completed. Now we will review the fourth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. What is meant is, we will take important topics of the fourth chapter so that you have the idea of what Lord Krishna teaches in the fourth chapter of the Gita. The discussion begins with what is called avatara. Avatara means incarnation. In the introduction of the text of Bhagavad Gita, the great Shankaracharya is also called Bhashyakara, the commentator on the Bhagavad Gita. He asks this question, who is the teacher of the Bhagavad Gita? Well, Lord Krishna is the teacher of Bhagavad Gita. But who is he? Because where the teaching is coming from is very important. Because if that is an authentic source, then we will have the Shraddha, the trust in the words of the teacher. We will also receive the teaching with bhakti, devotion, reverence. And thus we will have the right attitudes while listening to the teaching. That attitude is very important. In Vedanta, the Shraddha and Bhakti, Shraddha, the implicit trust, and Bhakti is the devotion, reverence for the teacher. These are considered very important for the student, because then the teaching will have the right impact upon the listener. The student listens with a certain attitude, which attitude is called Shraddha, the trust, and Bhakti, devotion. Then the teaching is received without resistance, in a very positive attitude, and the teaching becomes clear to the listener, to the student. In order for that to happen, Shankaracharya asks this question, who is the teacher of the Bhagavad Gita? We know it's all Lord Krishna. Who is Lord Krishna? So, Shankaracharya Bhashyakara also we call him. says that Bhagavan, when he created this universe, he created also the vyavastha, the setup, so that the universe functions smoothly. And in the universe and the world, there are two basic spiritual pursuits. Worship of Lord. One is through the karma, the duty that one performs, the day-to-day activity that we perform can become the means of worshipping the Lord. You perform your daily duties. If they are done the right attitude, that itself becomes the worship of the Lord. And that creates in us the maturity. When a desire to know arises, first is the worship of the Lord, and that worship creates in us the desire to know the Lord. The desire for knowledge has to arise when the mind becomes mature by the spirit of worshipping the Lord. Therefore, these two stages of the spiritual pursuits are taught in the Bhagavad Gita. First stage is the spirit of worship through one's actions. Bhagavad Gita takes up our day-to-day life itself and how can we transform our day-to-day life into a life of worship of the Lord. That worship does not mean that you have to renounce, you have to go to forest, you have to do any basic change in your lifestyle. Doing what you are doing by the change of attitude is not so much by change of what you do, but by change of attitude of what you do, the life becomes a spiritual pursuit. Outwardly the person looks the same. He's doing the same thing that he or she was doing earlier. But the attitude has changed. Thus, the Bhagavad Gita teaches that attitude, because of which our life turns into a life of worship. Outwardly we are doing the same thing that we were doing earlier, but now our attitudes have changed, and therefore the purpose of the life changes, and that's how the reward that we get from the life also changes. So first is the stage of karma yoga, second stage of the jnana yoga, action and knowledge. The two stages. So asking this question, who is this teacher of Lord of the Bhagavad Gita? Says Shankaracharya that Bhagavan or Ishvara, having created the universe, also creates the vyavastha, the setup, so that it should function smoothly. And there are two basic pursuits. One is the pursuit called activity, in Sanskrit pravrutti. Second is a life of activity and life of contemplation. First stage of life of activity. And when this activity or actions are performed properly in the spirit of yoga, it's called karma yoga, then the mind gains a maturity and there arises a desire for knowledge. Then the pursuit changes And now you become the seeker of knowledge. That is the pursuit of jnanam or knowledge. In order for this to take place, Lord creates the right leaders. The leaders who will inspire and guide the people for the life of activity, and other spiritual leaders who will guide the mature people into the life of knowledge. All these setup are done. Bhagavan, he doesn't do anything. You know, our Lord Narayana is lying on the serpent bed, you know that? He is in Yoga Nidra, doing nothing. And still everything should function smoothly. That is the highest form of management. But those who are managed do not even realize that we are managed. Where things are managed and they take place properly without the leader having to do anything, by his very presence things happen. Now and then something happens in that smooth functioning, gives you prosperity. Prosperity means you get what you want. And when things are easily available, then it is likely that the pleasure, the comfort and pleasure become more important in life. It's likely that life may become the life of indulgence, and people may slowly cross the boundaries. Because when we are controlled by our mind, controlled by the desires, controlled by impulses of pleasure and enjoyment, then slowly we lose control over ourselves and are controlled by the temptations, by the impulses. So that is how slowly the boundaries are violated. Oh, a little, one more masala dosa, one more rasagulla, one more of this, and so one more. And that's how slowly the self-control becomes loose. We start being controlled by the impulses of pleasure, and that's how the dharma, slowly the righteousness, the life of righteousness, the boundaries, they slowly get violated. And adharma increases. You can see where we have a lot of prosperity. Like heaven we have here, what you got is all available. And as much as you want is available. Then there is a tendency to enjoy more and consume more, and more consumption increases. As consumption increases, the contribution decreases, the dharma decreases, the adharma increases. Contribution means dharma, consumption means adharma. If there is a balance between the two, it's fine. But consumption is such that we slowly violate the boundaries. So adharma increases. The force of dharma declines, the force of adharma increases. That is when even the Bhagavan, who is lying down in the serpent bed, has to intervene. So the standard stories are that there is so much of adharma on this earth. The asuras and rakshasas have increased in such, numbers, that now regular ordinary people cannot even follow their day-to-day dharma. This earth becomes burdened by the asuras, and so the earth takes the form of the cow, goes to Brahma, the creator. Says, "Oh Lord, you have created this earth, created me, created the world, do something about it." Says, "I'm sorry, my job is to create." But administrate is the job of Lord Vishnu, let us go there. And so they all go and urge, appeal to Lord Narayana, who is lying on his serpent bed, and then slowly request him, and then he comes down. That coming down is called avataranam. Ava, below, avataranam, coming down. So Lord Narayana comes down, takes a suitable form, that's called avatar. So the discussion on the 4th chapter begins with avatara. In the 4th chapter, Lord Krishna, so 3 chapters are over. The first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is essentially devoted to Arjuna's expression of his problem and his grief. It's Arjuna Vishada Yoga. The Vishada, the grief of Arjuna is discussed in the first chapter. Second chapter is called Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of knowledge, in which Karma Yoga also is described. The third yoga is the third chapter is the Karma Yoga completely. So Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, both of them are now completely described in the second and the third chapter of the Gita. So Lord Krishna thinks that he has completed his teaching. And then says to Arjuna, Imam vivasvate yogam proktvanaham avyam vyasvan manave praha manurikshvakave bravid evam parampara prapna imam rajarshyo viduhu sakale nehamata yogo nastah parandava sayavayam mayate the yoga. Hey Arjuna, in the beginning of the creation, I imparted this knowledge to Vivasvan, who imparted to his son Manu, who imparted to his son Ikshvaku, and that's how the knowledge has been coming down to us. But in course of time, this whole succession of the teacher and the disciples, because the teachers did not find the qualified disciples, and therefore the succession of the teachers and disciples got broken down. And a time came when this knowledge was not available to people because there are no qualified teachers. So that is when Lord Krishna says, when I found this, that is when I imparted this knowledge to you, Arjuna, finding you the very qualified person who will receive this teaching, and I know that you are a strong, powerful person, therefore through you the knowledge will find its outlet to write to other places. So Lord Krishna says that this teaching that I imparted to you today is the teaching I imparted to Vivasvan. Vivasvan is Lord's son, the very first one. In the beginning of creation, I imparted the same teaching to Vivasvan, who gave it to his son Manu, and then the Ikshvaku, and that's how it's been coming down to us. And here, understand that the very same yoga, the very same knowledge is imparted to you today. The knowledge that I imparted in the beginning of creation, so long ago, the same knowledge I have imparted to you today. What knowledge I imparted to Vivasvan, to Hiranyagarbha, to son, is the knowledge that I have imparted to you today. So Arjuna is quite amazed. And Arjuna has no problem with what Lord Krishna says. But Arjuna thinks that when other people will hear this, that Lord Krishna claiming that the teaching that I imparted to Vivaswan at the beginning of creation, which was thousands of years ago, is a teaching that I am imparting to you today. So people will question. You were at that time, and you are now also. You follow? Thousands of years ago, in the beginning of creation, Lord, I imparted, and that same I am imparting to you today, but then, oh Lord, we know that you were born recently. Aparam bhavato janma, param janma vivasvatah. Lord Krishna, we are every year celebrating Janmashtami. So we know you were born on a given day, and there was certainly, it's not through this body that you could have imparted the knowledge to Vivaswan thousands and thousands of years ago. Aparam bhavato janma, param janma vivasvatah. Vivaswan was born so much earlier, and you are born only recently. Katham etad vijaniyam tvado proktavaniti. How should I understand that it was you who imparted knowledge then, is the one imparting knowledge to? How should I understand that? Arjuna doesn't question Lord Krishna. How can it be? He doesn't say, how should I understand? See the way the statement is made. We will say, how can it be? We can say, hey, he can't be. I don't believe that. I don't believe that you are the one who imparted. That's not the way you communicate. That's not the way you approach. That is not the way of a disciple who wants to learn. Arjuna wants to learn. So he does not question Lord Krishna. He wants to understand what Lord Krishna says. Katham etad vijaniyam tvamado proktavaniti. O Lord Krishna, katham etad vijaniyam, how should I know? Tvamado proktavan, that you were the one who imparted this knowledge in the beginning of creation, that you were the one who is imparting it to me today. How should I understand that? Very obvious that you are aparam bhavato janma, you are born only recently. Param janma vivasvata, Vivaswan was born thousands of years ago, millions of years ago. So how should I understand that the one who is teaching me today is the one who taught at that time? Certainly, you cannot be in this body at that time. You seem to know. You seem to know that you imparted that, therefore you are all-knowing. So how should I understand that? So this was the background of how Lord Krishna teaches the principle of avatara or incarnation. In that, the Lord Krishna should also tell us who He is. So, in this in the handout, on the page number 1, it's there. In case you don't have the handout, then you can see on the screen. So let me read the part of the verse, and you please try to repeat after me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ajopi Sannavyayatma Bhutanam Ishvaropi San Prakritim Swamadhisthaya Sambhavamyatma Mayaya. Sri Bhagavan Vacha. In response to this query on the part of Arjuna, as to, O Lord, how should I understand that you who is teaching me today is the one that taught Vivasvana at that time, or you who taught Vivasvana at that time is the one who is teaching me today? How should I understand? See, you can't be born like me, Arjuna says. You are Ishvara. Now, the way that we get birth, by the way, we are called Jivas, Jivatma. Lord Krishna is Paramatma. Who are we? Jivatma. So our birth is a result of our karma. This body that I have is the result of the karma, the actions that I would have performed in the past births. And I don't have the freedom to decide what body I will have. I don't have freedom to decide where I will be born, meaning that I as Jivatma do not have the freedom to decide where I will be born, in what embodiment I will be born. All of that is determined by my karma. It's my karma that determines to which parents I will be born, what will the nature of my body, what will be the nature of my life. All of it is basically determined by karma. And that is why each one of us is different from others. Because each one has a different history. I have my own history of karma. And that determines what I am now. You have your own history, and that determines what you are. So this law of karma, called law of cause and effect, explains why there is diversity and variety in life. Why you are what you are, why I am what I am, why she is what she is all determined by the karma, the actions that we may have performed in the past, because the present is the product of the past. And that explains why I am what I am and you are what you are. In short, the Jivatma that you and I are born as a result of our karma. And since each one of us has a unique history, therefore each one of us is unique. But how about Bhagavan? Why do we perform karma, When do we do something? Usually, we do something to fulfill a desire. When there arises a desire in my mind, that is when we perform an action to fulfill that desire. Usually, an action is performed in response to a desire. Why do I have desire? When do I have desire? When there is a need. A desire is for fulfilling a need. When I find that I need something, then there is a desire to fulfill that need, then I perform an action. So action is generally a response to a desire in my mind, and desire is in response to a need within me. Why is there a need? Because I want something. I'm wanting, lacking. That's why there's a need. Therefore there desire, therefore karma. So this is the usual setup. Would Bhagavan perform a karma? Bhagavan is Ishvara. Would he perform? He doesn't have any needs. He's called Bhagavan because he's all fulfilled, he is totally complete. He is limitless in every way. Who? Ishvara. Therefore, Ishvara or Bhagavan or God cannot have any need. Therefore, he cannot have any desire. Therefore, he could not have performed any karma to fulfill desire. So he has no history like you and I. So question is, how can Bhagavan take birth? For you and I, it's understandable that we take birth as a result of the karma. The karma was the result of a desire. The desire was the result of my need. And my need was the result of my ignorance. So we are ignorant, therefore needy, therefore desirous, perform actions, and that's how the life goes on. But Bhagavan is not ignorant. He is all knowledge and he is all complete. He is no desire, and therefore he could not possibly perform karma like you and I do as a result of the desires. And we are born because of the karma. Bhagavan doesn't have that karma, desire from that karma. So he cannot have birth. So now question is, how does Ishvara, how does he have birth? See, if you understand what I am trying to say here, we are talking about the incarnation. See, the word incarnation, unfortunately, is used for rebirth, but incarnation, a technical word, used only for Ishvara. These days, when they talk of rebirth, they call it incarnation. We got incarnated. We don't get incarnated, we get born. So ours is called birth, rebirth. Incarnation technically is only for the Lord. He gets incarnated. Now, if you understand what I am saying, that on the part of Bhagavan or Ishvara, there is no reason for him to be born because there is nothing to accomplish, nothing to desire. We are born to fulfill our desires. Ishvara, you see in the 8th chapter, Lord Krishna says, at the time of birth, whatever the last desire, that is what will determine what our next birth will be. Meaning that we are born to fulfill variety of desires. Bhagavan does not have desire. There was no justification of birth. So that is why is he born? How can he be born? What kind of body? This body is there because of my karma. He doesn't have karma, so what body will he have? I am born because of my desires. He has no desires. So how do you explain the birth of Ishvara? So that is what the verse that we just read here. Ajopi sandhavyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san prakritim swam adhisthaya sambhavami atmamaya. If you look at the translation, we are given also the word-to-word meaning here. So says Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Lord said, Api aja, apiyasan aja, ajopisan, even though I am birthless. Bhagavan is what? Birthless. Avyayatma, undecaying by nature. Bhutanam Ishvara, I am the natural ruler of all the beings. So first line of the verse states the reason why the birth of the Lord, like you, birth of you and I cannot be. The reason why we are born is because we are ruled by karma. What body, where was I born, when was I born, what body I had, all of that was determined by my karma. Which karma? Karma that I performed to fulfill my desires. Why did I have desires? Because I was incomplete. Why was I incomplete? Because I was ignorant. So ignorance creates and incompleteness, creates desire, creates karma and creates the result. Bhagavan is not ignorant. He is the embodiment of knowledge. He is no incompleteness and therefore no desire prompted karma. And so that is what Lord Krishna says. So in the first line of this verse, Lord Krishna says how the birth in a conventional sense is not possible in his case. Ajobisanna, I am birthless. The birthless cannot be born, isn't it? Ajaya means birthless. How can birthless be born? Avyayatma, and I am undecaying by nature, is deathless, he cannot die. So we are born and we are going to die. But Bhagavan cannot be born because he is birthless. He cannot die because avyaya or is undecaying. And thirdly, we are all controlled by our karma. We do not have the freedom to decide what the next moment will bring. Otherwise things would have been so nice. All the astrologers would be out of business. If we had what we wanted, then that life would be wonderful, is it not so? Unfortunately, we do not know what will happen next moment. They say even Lord Rama also did not know what was going to happen next morning. Previous evening is told that he is going to he'll be the incarnation as a crown prince. And next morning is told that you have to go to forest. And so you do not know what next morning will bring, next moment will bring. Because we are controlled by the karma. Our karma decides what the next thought will be, what next situation will be, But avyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi sanna. Lord Krishna says, I am the Ishvara, I am the ruler of all the beings. I am not ruled by karma. I am my own ruler. So we are ruled by karma. We have a body. We are born result of karma, ruled by karma, and therefore birth is explainable in our case. But that kind of conventional birth is not explainable in case of Lord Krishna. So technically speaking, the first line of the verse that we read, Ajobisan, Avyayatma Bisan, Bhutanam Ishvaropisan, Lord Krishna provides three reasons why there cannot be birth in the traditional or conventional reason, unconventional way. He is birthless, so he can't be born. He is deathless, so he cannot die to be born again. And he is the ruler of all, therefore he cannot be ruled by karma. So first line says, Lord Krishna says, I cannot be born. Then how are you born? Second line says, Prakritim swamadhisthaya sambhavami atmamaya. Swam prakritim adhisthaya, by subjugating my prakriti, my maya. Atmamaya sambhavami, I take birth by means of my own Maya. This word Maya comes and we get all confused. These Vedantins, if they have a problem explaining something, they'll say Maya. And that is how it is. Lord Krishna's was inexplicable. As I said, no conventional reasons are there for him to be born. And still born, therefore, Maya alone has to come. Sambhavami Atma Maya, Sambhavami Samyak Bhavami. I'm born very well, not like this. Even though Lord Krishna is described as born of the womb of Devaki, but the union of Vasudeva and Devaki, that is just the description. It is not that Lord Krishna is the product of a union of mother and father. That he takes a birth like another Jivatma, he shows that. This is called Leela, this is all his Maya, that he creates an appearance of just being an ordinary human being. As though he also is born from the womb of the mother, he also born as a little baby or an infant, he also grows in the conventional manner, and he also goes through a variety of experience. He also cries. He feels thirsty of the milk, and he cries, and he harasses his mother, and all kinds of things he does. As though he is an ordinary little infant. That's all Atma Maya. All of this is simply his Maya, meaning that this is the drama that he is playing. Lord Krishna's life is more like a drama. Meaning, he chooses to play that way. He chooses to take a body as though he has a body. He doesn't have a body like you and I have. That is as though a body. So, what is our body? That I am identified with the body. I am the body. If you touch me, touch the body, you are touching me. Body dies, I die. Body is born, I am born. So as far as you and I are concerned, we possess this body. Body is product of karma. And therefore what happens to body happens to us. The body is born, we are born. Body is growing, we are growing. Body is old, we are old. Body will die, we will die. Do you think this happens to Lord Krishna also? Looks like it. Looks like Lord Krishna also was born and he was also growing. He also became adolescent. Then he also became a young man. Looks like he is going through the same kind of stages. But really speaking, not Atma Maya. It is just appearance that I make to play my role. So Lord comes here to play a variety of roles. Why? To fulfill a certain. In the next verse, he will tell us why does he take incarnation? There is a reason why he, of course, incarnates. Reason why he takes a certain embodiment. Reason why he performs a variety of actions during that lifespan. But that is all merely an appearance rather than a reality. And therefore, these verses are telling us, more we understand Lord Krishna, more we understand our own true nature also, and therefore, knowing him becomes also knowing our true self. Let us see. Prakritim swamadhisthaya sambhavami atmamaya. Swam prakritim adhisthaya, subjugating my prakriti, my maya. Understand that we are controlled by Prakriti. He is the controller of Prakriti. We are controlled by Maya. He is the controller of the Maya. Maya can simply mean magic. A magician? A magician creates variety of appearances. A magician does not create anything as such. A magician creates the appearance. If he takes a piece of paper and shows a $100 bill, it's not he just created $100. It is just the appearance. If he creates, then he doesn't have to do his business, If he can create $100, that's all. No? After showing $100 bills and $500 bills and so forth and so on, then at the end of the show, he's begging ball and he's only asking for some little dollars and cents because he just makes an appearance. So just as a magician creates the appearance of creating something, not really producing it, that is called magic. What is magic? Magic is creating an appearance of something which is not. Like showing a $100 bill is creating an appearance of something which is not. This is called Maya. So Maya means magic. What does magic do? Magic creates an appearance of what is not there in reality. Now, all of you have seen magic shows where magicians create all kinds of appearances. I was in, I don't know how many years ago I saw the last magic show. But I remember there was water of Ganga, there was one jug. And from there we'll pour water. From beginning to end, 15 times he pours water. And that jug, is always full of water. The water of Ganga. There is a wooden box in which he asks one woman to lie down and then he cuts into pieces, All kinds of things he shows and then the woman comes out just in one piece. So, amazing things the magicians show, it is just what? A show or appearance, not a reality. So that is called magic, where the magician creates an appearance of what is really not there. So also, Lord Krishna says, Maya Prakritim Swamadhisthaya Sambhavami Atma Maya by my Maya Sambhavami, I create an appearance. Meaning that he is a body as though a body. He is born as though born. He has a body as though body. He is growing old. In the battlefield of Mahabharata, in fact, Lord Krishna received many arrows pricked in his body. Bhishma Pitama was lying on the bed of arrows, and Lord Krishna with Yudhishthira and they go on to see Bhishma Pitama in his last moments. That time Bhishma Pitama describes, he says, how cruel I was, Lord, that you were the chariot of Arjuna, and Bhishma says, I became mad because Duryodhana incited him that you are not fighting sincerely, O Lord Bhishma Pitama, grandfather, you are not fighting sincerely. You are creating appearance of fighting, but you have the well-being of Pandavas in your heart, therefore you are not really fighting sincerely. That's how Arjuna taunted him. That's why, see, you are not able to kill Pandavas, you are not able to do anything. Then Bhishma said, okay, tomorrow you will see. Either I am there or they are there. And that day he fought so ferociously It may look like that he would destroy everybody, he would kill everybody. So that is when Lord Krishna, so Lord Krishna is a chariot of Arjuna. And Bhishma is sending arrow at Arjuna, and many of the arrows are landing on the Sarthi also. Blood is coming out from the body of Lord Krishna. And that day it looked as though Bhishma would kill everybody. He was invincible. That's when the Lord Krishna, you know what he did? Even though he had taken a vow that I will not wield any weapon, Lord Krishna quietly set aside his pratigna. He came down from his position of a charioteer. He ran towards Bhishma. He picked up one wheel, a chariot wheel, and made his chakra and started, revolving his Sudarshan chakra and attacked Bhishma to kill him. That time Arjuna came down, he ran and he caught hold of Lord Krishna. Hey, please don't do that. You've taken a vow that he will not wield any weapons and see what you're doing. Don't do that. So Arjuna stopped him. So Bhishma Pitama says, I was so cruel that your body was pierced with the arrows which were sent by me and you are bleeding. I was so cruel. So that is also the kind of part that Lord Krishna plays, as though injured, as though bleeding, as though in pain. It's all as though. Maya. So Atma Maya, by Maya, I play all these various roles so effectively. See, the magician effectively does. We don't realize that it is magic. So Lord Krishna does it very effectively. Nobody ever realized that this is just an appearance. It is Maya. It was very real. Sometimes we see some nice dramas or plays, and actors are playing so effectively. The Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar was a young man. In those days in Calcutta, he went to see one play. And in the play, one man was attacking a woman, and that was the play. And the young man, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, got so angry, he pulled out his shoe and threw it at the stage. And the curtain came down. The director came out. Says, today my show has gained a real recognition. Today somebody thought that this was a reality. That means that we did a good job. The idea is that sometimes the play also becomes so real that we think it is real and we react. So that is how we are doing. We think the play is so real and then we are reacting in that way. As far as Lord Krishna is concerned, it's all play. But he goes through all this variety of roles, including role of a charioteer, role of the one who is injured with various, many arrows. So that's how Bhishma Pitama described him, that oh Lord, that day I was so cruel that I hurt you with so many piercing arrows, and your body was bleeding and you were in pain. I'm sorry for that. So there's also Atma Maya. By his Maya, he plays this kind of roles also. Any role he can play. Ranachod is one who escaped, who ran away from the battlefield. Can you imagine Lord of the universe running away from the battlefield? He did that. Jarasandha came, how many? 18 times he came, attacked Mathura. And last time, Lord Krishna escaped from him and of course set up a new capital, Dwarika. So he can play any roles. Atma Maya. that is important is prakritim swamadhisthaya sambhavami atmamaya. Wielding my prakriti, wielding my power, wielding my maya. I as though get born, I as though have a body, I as though grow old, I'm as though fighting, I'm as though crying, I'm as though doing all of these things without really doing them. Because that we'll see in the next verse. But if he really does it, in that case, he also gets bound by karma. So that's a secret we will discuss in the subsequent verses. The question is, Lord, then when do you take incarnation? So nature of incarnation is described. It is as though taking a body, as though being born, as though growing, as though taking a variety of roles. And it done so effectively that the world does not know, the world thinks that this is really what it is. There may be a few of his bhaktas. A few bhaktas may have known the secret, that this is Bhagavan only playing role. The rest of the people think that this is real. So question is, O Lord, when do you take incarnation? So next verse describes that. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Yada yada hi, whenever, dharmasya glanihi bhavati. Hey Bharata, Arjuna is addressed as Bharata. Bharata, Kulavamso, Bharata Vamsodbhava, because he is the descendant of Bharata, he is called Bharata. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanihi bhavati. Glani means decline. Yada yada hi, whenever there is decline of dharma. Abhyutthanam adharmasya, abhyutthanam increase, adharmasya of unrighteousness, dharma and adharma. Tada atmanam sujamyam, at that time I manifest, I as though take the birth. So when does it become necessary for Lord Krishna to take incarnation? For what purpose does he take incarnation? Dharmasya glanihi bhavati. When a dharma or righteousness suffers a decline. As I said, when the society follows dharma, there is prosperity in the society. When there is prosperity, then there are, you get all what you want. When prosperity is there, then what is going to happen also is that there is going to be comfort and luxuries. Well, luxuries are there, indulgence in there. Indulgence is there means people are slowly going to, cross the boundaries. There will be more indulgence. Now, dharma means boundaries. Adharma means crossing the boundary, indulgence. So this principle of dharma is very important principle. Dharma means the universal law. Dharma also means righteousness. Dharma also means duty. It also means universal law. Meaning that when we live our life in keeping with the law, that is when there will be order in the society. See, when will there be order? When people follow a certain law. Right now there is an order. all of you are sitting down in your place. That is in order. If somebody is sitting, somebody is standing, somebody is walking, somebody is, doing all kinds of things, then there is no order, then no proper things can take place. So for the society to function systematically, it is necessary that people should follow order, meaning that people should follow basic laws. If the society follows basic laws, then everything will be fine. In the road also, the basic law of the traffic should be followed, then only there is harmony in the traffic. If that is not done, then there is disharmony, then all kinds of accidents happen. So life also can go on smoothly if people follow the law of life. What's the law of life? That's called dharma. So what is this dharma, Swamiji? What is the basic law that you are talking about? The law. What is the basic law that you are talking about? A dharma or basic law, how should I relate to you? And how should you relate to me? The basic law is this. I should relate to you as I relate to myself. Ideally, I should treat you as I treat myself. Very difficult. But that is ideal. Atma upamyena sarvasya samam pashyati Arjuna. Lord Krishna says that when a person interacts with others, he takes himself as the very standard of measuring. Meaning that, how would I have liked to be treated if I was in that position? When you decide, how should I treat this person? Ideally the question should be, if I was in the position of that person, how would I have liked to be treated? Oh Swamiji, I like to be treated kindly, gently, honestly. I like to be treated, told truth, not untruth. I like to be treated kindly, not cruelly. I like to be forgiven, not punished. That's what each one of us wants. So then, try to treat you the way I want to be treated. That becomes a basic dharma. Difficult. That's the basic dharma. So if that dharma, that ideal is followed, then there will be total harmony. If I treat you the way I treat myself, there is total harmony in the society. Everybody will be very happy. There will be heaven in the society. And that's the whole idea. Dharma is meant to create that order, meant to create harmony, so that people are happy and comfortable. When that dharma is not followed, I will discuss it a little more. When I become selfish, when my interest becomes more important than your interest, and I sacrifice your interest for the sake of my interest, in that case, I am likely to do injustice to you. So, justice means dharma, adharma means injustice. So, dharma and adharma. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati. Here, Arjuna, whenever there is a decline of dharma or righteousness or in the society, tada atmanam sujamyam, that's the time when I take the birth, I take the incarnation. So Lord Krishna explains what are the conditions when the incarnation becomes necessary, and dharma is the basis. And this is what we'll continue our discussion tomorrow, as to how the incarnation of Lord becomes necessary, how dharma is so important for us and for human beings, and when that dharma is compromised, how there is a disorder in the society, how there is suffering in there, and how therefore intervention is necessary. So Lord incarnation, is like an intervention to set things right. So we'll continue tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.